Coach, I know I asked you this question a bunch about John, and then I just asked George what it's been like working with you. So in this short time, how has it gone? Do you feel like because you've been around the team a little more, you're maybe going to speak up for certain guys? Just tell us about the working relationship so far.
The relationship's been great so far. George has come in here, boots to the ground and working his butt off, watching a ton of film, did a deep dive on our team, obviously worked real hard on the free agency aspect of it, and is now into the draft part of it. But I've been very impressed with how he goes about his business, and very knowledgeable around the league, in every facet with the agents, players, contacts, and, I think we got a great one here.
Next one, Jeff Leibel.
Vic, just in your early work here, what do you think of what's available at corner in free agency and in the draft?
There's some good players available at corner and free agency, and obviously there's some also in the draft. So, we hope to at some point, whether it be in free agency or in the draft, to add a player or two to that position for us, because we need to.
Next one, Troy.
Coach, thanks for joining us. There's some important decisions for George regarding Von Miller, Kareem Jackson, Justin Simmons. I mean, it looks like Justin's staying regardless. But do you pound the table for Von or Kareem? Do you get involved in those discussions, or you just provide your scouting report and then leave it to him? How does that work?
Both. I mean, obviously, we talk about the players as performers on the field, but also to where they're at in their career, how important they are to the team, from an intangible standpoint. And we're constantly talk about that all the time.
Next one, Kyle.
Vic, obviously there's been a lot of discussions about the Broncos being in on free agent quarterbacks or Deshaun Watson. Where do you see kind of the quarterback situation heading into 2021, and what's your confidence in Drew Lock right now?
I'm confident that Drew's going to continue to improve. Drew's had a great offseason up to this point. There's not a lot you can do, but he's working hard on his own, coming over here and getting workouts. And I know he's doing a lot at home by himself, watching video by himself. He's got a good setup over there, and he's doing anything and everything he can to improve, even as in February and now in March. And I feel like he'll continue to improve as it relates to the quarterback carousel that everybody's talking about going around the league. We'll see how it turns out. Right now it's just a lot of rumors and innuendos and everybody proposing this and that. I really don't know what's going to happen with some of the names that are being bandied about out there.
Next one, Mike Liz.
Yeah, Coach. A lot of teams, other teams, have made hires so that they can get your defensive system, the Fangio defense. The Rams, Chargers, Packers. What's your reaction to that?
Well, they've hired good coaches, that, at some point in their career or had an influence of working with me wherever it had been. And, I think, Brandon Staley leaving here and going to the Rams and running, our defense there so successfully has helped that. And Brandon did a great job on his own. We like to think we have a good system, that we're competitive, that can play good defense into today's NFL world against these offenses. But, it takes great coaches to coach it, and it takes great players to execute it. And any credit that's being given in those terms needs to go that way.
Next one, Mark Island.
Hey, Coach. George just mentioned a defense that applies pressure and covers well, that works well with you, works well with everybody. Are you looking? Is it your turn this year? Last year in the draft you went offense. And how confident are you with the personnel you have in implementing your defensive system to its maximum efficiency?
Well, hopefully we'll have a good offseason. pick up a player, 2 or 3, and through free agency and the draft. But I kind of feel like we'll have 2 off seasons this year once we get some of the guys back that were injured last year that didn't play much for us. So hopefully we get those guys back healthy, have an influx of a few guys. And then I think the biggest thing you have to do every year is improve the guys that are already on your roster, because this roster, no matter what happens in free agency and the draft, is still going to be made up of a bunch of guys that were here last year, and it's our job to improve those guys. And we think a lot of those players have a lot of room for improvement. They're young, they have some talent, and we've got to work hard to improve it. But, yeah, there's no doubt we need to have an influx of a guy or 2.
Thanks for making it.
Hey, Coach, kind of going off Mike's question, you brought in Christian Parker to be the new defensive backs coach. What do you like about his potential there?
Yeah, he's a guy that I didn't know anything about until I started to search. And, I tend to take, unless I have a guy in mind that I know and I've worked with and I know will be a great fit and great coach for us, I tend to take my time on those things because you never know what will turn up the longer you wait. And I got rewarded for that this year because his name, we were at least 2 weeks into the opening and somebody brought his name up to me. And fortunately, he's been around people through my investigation that I know and trust, and those people know me and know what I would like. And, so we interviewed him and liked the interview. And he's been here now, about 10 days probably. And up to this point, we're very, very happy to get him. And I know Green Bay was very disappointed to lose him because after we offered him the job, they came back hard to try and keep him.
Thanks for making it.
Hey, Vic, when you did your deep dive and look back at the last season, earlier this offseason, what did you see that maybe wasn't apparent when you were going through the campaign, and how can you apply that going forward?
I didn't see a whole lot that I wasn't expecting to see. We just need to be better. We need to not turn the ball over as much. We need to get more takeaways on offense. We need to cover better. We need to rush the passer better. We need to convert more third downs on offense. We need to be better in the red zone on offense. I wasn't surprised by what the cut-ups and off-season study have shown this far.
Guys, time for a few more. Next one, George.
Yeah, Vic, there's been a lot of talk about you guys potentially looking at drafting a corner in the first or second round. When you look at rookie corners, is it one thing that you particularly look at, or is it, size, skill, fit in your scheme? What is it that you kind of like to look at when you're looking at rookies at corner?
At corner, yeah. Corners come in all shapes and sizes and styles. And I think if you pigeonhole yourself into you only want certain type corners, whether it be size, certain speed, et cetera, and you're going to end up finding yourself without enough corners that can play in the NFL. The corner position, because you play so much nickel anymore, all teams do, the math will tell you there's 96 starting corners in the NFL. And I just don't think there's enough to go around for the entire league. And if you pigeonhole yourself into a certain prototype or characteristics that you want, you won't have enough time to find them in time. So we're looking for good players at corner, realizing they come in all shapes and sizes. Bryce Callahan was probably our best corner last year. We really had him planned to play nickel a good bit of that time, but was forced to play corner. He's 5'9". Everybody would like a 6-foot corner, but I just like corners that can play good.
Final three, Darren, James, Michael, go ahead, Darren.
Coach, you've spoken in the past about how important competition is to raise the level of play. I'm curious what your strategy is this coming year to raise the level of competition in the quarterback room.
Well, obviously, we're always looking to bring in players at all positions that can raise the level of competition. And, you know, the quarterback is no different in that regard. You know, until we get or until Drew proves to be the next great quarterback, you know, the ones that the Denver franchise has been used to in years past, or certain teams around the league, you guys know where they are used to, we're going to always try and bring in competition. But I have confidence that Drew can continue to improve.
Next one, James.
Vic, I hope you're doing well. Phils are up 7-0, so that's a good sign here early in spring training. But
how's the Rockies doing?
Wow, good call. Good answer to that, to the crowd here. Appreciate that. Vic, with the way this next couple weeks are going to go, with so many teams going to have to part ways with a lot of talent in free agency, I'm just curious, with the draft, you got to study, but how much are you studying potentially some of that talent that's going to be probably in most years not cut, but going to be cut during this period of time, and you guys have the ability to make some moves there? How much can you spend time on all those players and not knowing who it's going to be?
Yeah, George did a good job of, you know, guesstimating some possibilities that may be cap casualties, as you're alluding to, and we've studied some of them, so we are prepared in case they do happen. Obviously, we have no idea if and when that will happen. That's kind of the tricky part of it, or timing part of it, then that if you sign a player too early in free agency within the first week or so, you know, and then another week or so after that, you know, some players come loose that maybe you would have rather had instead of the ones you signed early. You know, that's part of the game, you know, the timing of it and prognosticating of it. George has a lot of good contacts around the league and tries to stay abreast of things that could possibly happen. But again, there's never any guarantee of anything. So, but you're right. We've tried to be prepared for that with guesstimating through what George thinks could possibly happen. And you know, you have to weigh that in as you're signing guys early.
Final two, Michael Lenardi. Go ahead, Michael.
Hey, Vic, George said that he's talked to Juwan James and said that he seemed to be excited for the 2021 season. I'm wondering if you have talked to Juwan James and if you are confident that if indeed he does come back, he can fit seamlessly into that locker room.
Yeah, I've talked to him a couple times, and he definitely is planning on coming back and being part of the team moving forward. He's down south right now training. I'm expecting him back here, you know, mid to late March for him to start training here with us, you know, using our facilities. And then obviously if OTAs come about, partaking in those. But we're counting and anticipating on him being part of our team next year.
Last one, Artie.
Hey, Vic, thanks for spending some time with us again today. I know we're all looking for a return to normalcy with this pandemic, but if the offseason, again, is a carbon copy of 2020, are there lessons that were learned that you can take from last year that can be applied this year, maybe?
Yeah, I mean, there probably are. I mean, we all are better prepared for it now than we were when it first happened, obviously. Unfortunately, we majored in Zoom meetings throughout the season, unlike a lot of teams around the league didn't do that. We'll be better off prepared for it. Hopefully that won't be the case. Hopefully we'll get some on the field work and some in-person meetings. You know, Zoom is a great thing. It's a medium that is here, and it will be here to stay and can be utilized in the right way. But still, in-person and on the field stuff is invaluable and much, much better.
Okay, Coach. Thanks for taking